Thank you for clicking my Dr. Samurai channel. This time, I would like to review number one Netflix series, Squid Game. I would especially like to interpret what it really like to imply. My name is Dr. Samurai, a professor specialized in international social pathology and also an active prison counselor of 20 years experience. I would like to provide you with some basic information first, and then like to move on to our main discussions in the latter half, hoping that this will help you deepen your understanding of underlying mechanics of what is going on around the world today, so that you could attain true happiness on this planet Earth. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Squid Game, a Netflix series. Number one, made by Korean producer. Squid Game itself means one of the games they played outside during their childhood. Its general story is like this. All adult members who are somehow deeply in debt were collected at one site to play various types of games played during childhood for the award money, at the risks of losing their own lives. One person dies, it adds 100 million won to the grand prize, and a total of 456 members were collected, and they unfold death battle to win the grand prize. There are some interesting points that I'd like to point out. One is that up till they win the last game, they have to go through several different types of child games for money. But right after they finish the first game, they learn to know those who failed are really killed by gunshots. So, after the first game, in which they lost about half of 456 members, they voted against continuing their game, and they were placed back in their original lives. But in time, they came to know outside life is as hellish as the Squid Game itself, because they owe a large debt, and because of that, they are carrying heavy pressures and blames by others. So, those half survivors called the number again to get back to their game. So now it is their voluntary game. Another point is the change in the participants' behavior. Halfway through the competitions, they formed some groups in which they helped each other to survive the game. But getting closer to the end of the game, the competitions are becoming harsher and harsher, and they started to betray their members in their team, which they formed for themselves. Another point is the last two survivors, which I would not specify, they literally fight death match playing this Squid Game, which is pretty much like one party invading into the other party's territory, and if this one party can beat him or avoid his defense to go around to step on something like home base in the opponent's territory, he wins, and the other party gets shot to death. Interesting thing is, although They have been surviving so many risky situations. In the end, both of them came back to notice all the fightings they were through. Nothing. Because of all the competitions they went through, they came to know they lost many things more than the prize money. And one last point I like to point out is the fixer of this Squid Game who orchestrated this whole thing were those who are winners of the world with the tons of money they couldn't even spend all of. And those super rich got together and started this game because they are bored of their multi-billion lives in which they can get anything without effort. They wanted to something exciting in their boring, super rich life. This is pretty much the general plot of this Squid Game. If you like this kind of story, please click that yellow and green Good Luck Charm logos. And now I would like to get into the interpretation and review of this game, especially what this Squid Game is really trying to mean. As I have told you, this is a story in which adult people playing child games seriously for money at the risk of their lives. Because of that, there are some who criticized this series as something that gives bad influence on the people who watch it. But as a social pathologist, I thought it was just a superficial point. I took this Squid Game created by Mr. Hwang Dong-hyuk as representing what is actually going on in our real world, that this capitalistic game which forces us to compete against each other over the world. You see, I told you, the participants once quit playing this Squid Game by vetoing against, but without fight, no money. The same as in a capitalistic society. Without fighting, we cannot earn money. Especially at this advanced stage of capitalistic world, the competitions are so severe, and many participants in this capitalistic games are addicted to the game to the level that they forget about what is really important in their own life. Of course, we may have had some good friends that even come from our own childhood. But as we get deeper and deeper into this capitalistic Squid Game, we start to forget about them in the heat of fighting and winning in the game. We don't even care about virtually killing our old friends in this competitive wars for ourselves to survive. It's like setting up a new noodle shop right in front of successful noodle shop operated by your friend, stuff like that. So deeply absorbed into this capitalistic Squid Game competitions, we change from originally kind and gentle and thoughtful being to being who care about nobody outside than themselves and probably only their limited family members. deserting and abandoning all the other. We are not who we were anymore, because we have to fight and win to survive in this competition. But in the end, when we face the extreme phase of this capitalistic Squid Game competitions, we suddenly came back to old us, because we cannot cross the line. And that's the time we start to really recognize what was really important and come back to being old us who cared about others and sharing things with others who are having a difficult times. But until we hit the very last line, we can't recognize that most important things in our lives. As if we are now facing a virtual introduction of apocalypse, such as global warming, ocean plastics, abnormal weather, ozone layer depletion, and wildfires which killed so many wildlives. The most striking scene to me in this Squid Game was the very last scene. The main character, having won all the games, are about to leave Korea to the United States to see his daughter. And on his way to get in the plane through that temporary hallway that leads from the airport to the plane, he casually saw outside of the window, and he saw exactly the same guy who lured him into this Squid Game was trying to lure another young man by using exactly the same tricks which he used to this main character. He ran back to stop it, but he couldn't catch the guy who was already in the train with the door closed and waving bye-bye, smiling at him, which seemed to me signifying that even if one generation is over with this their own Squid Game, there will be another generation and another generation who are pulled into this endless Squid Game of capitalistic competitions. And I thought, is this the way we really want? By virtually killing all the others and destroying all the environments in this meaningless capitalistic Squid Games, we are okay to end our lives, which is only once to live? So, against all those critics that violent scenes of this Squid Game is too much, as a specialist of social pathology, I saw something different in this great Netflix series, which I believe trying to make us think about the direction of our human civilization, which clearly chose capitalism, which can only run on eternal expansions, which means eternal competitions and distractions. Are we supposed to continue these destructive games of our true happiness, denying what is really important to our lives? Are there any other option that human beings can live without playing their stupid Squid games of killing all the others and destroying all the environments? I thought this Squid Game series was throwing this question to us to really think about what kind of future we want. What would you think? If you like this kind of serious discussions, please click that red Dr. Samuel logos and let's think about what's the best way for us to live. Our only one chance. Wherever you are, my friend, on this beautiful miracle planet Earth during the same period of time. Okay, bye-bye now.